Top cybersecurity stocks. Now, cybersecurity, guys, there's a lot going on under the hood. It's very complex, very diverse. There's a zillion different segments. If you don't believe me, check this out. So this is a quick map of cybersecurity domains, everything from cloud security, access control, vulnerability, security operation, threat hunting, DDoS. It's very complex. So what I'm gonna do today, guys, is I'm gonna break down the cybersecurity industry. I'm gonna simplify it the best I can and give you my top 10, my favorite 10 cybersecurity stocks to buy. You're definitely gonna wanna check this one out, guys, so stay tuned. So taking that last map one step further, this is a technology map for cybersecurity, and you can see it breaks it down by data protection, risk and compliance, identity management, security operations, foundational security, and there's sub-segments across here. Application security over here on the right, Internet of Things, cloud security, and they've got it actually labeled 1 through 9, and then there's letters A through F. And there's actually a legend down here. You can find a vendor. So if you have a stock in mind or a company in mind, you can go down and look for, say, Cloudflare and see what exactly they do. So I'm gonna provide the link to this in the description. I'm gonna use this map throughout the video to break down what these companies do, because I think there's a lot of confusion. Like, what's the difference between CrowdStrike and, let's say, a Palo Alto? What do those guys do and where do they compete in what areas? I'm gonna break that down for you as I go through and share my top 10 stocks in cybersecurity. The bust is back in the house. I haven't done this camera angle for a while. So these aren't necessarily in any particular order, although CrowdStrike is one of my favorites. I'm just gonna do 10 stocks that are in cybersecurity, and I'm gonna really what I wanna do, the point of this video is to give you 10 picks and to provide information on what they do specifically so you can understand what they do, how they fit into that cybersecurity stack. So you can take this information, you can do your own homework, decide which ones are best for your portfolio. CrowdStrike is one of them for a while, 2019 IPO. It's a $47 billion market cap. These guys really focus on endpoint security. You can see CrowdStrike right here, F2 and D8, okay? So if I go F2 and D8, let's start with F2, F, and then 2, you'll find their logo in here. So here's CrowdStrike, threat detection and analysis. D8, so I'm gonna go D, and I'm gonna go all the way over to here, and you'll see endpoint detection response. So you see CrowdStrike right here. You can see Sentinel-1 down here. That's really what CrowdStrike does. That's their bread and butter, and they're considered best of breed in those spaces, okay? So other companies like Palo Alto, they might do similar things. Like Microsoft can also do endpoint security, and Microsoft has tons of other solutions within cybersecurity, but CrowdStrike's really known for their endpoint detection response. So response would be like if there's already a breach, they can be the white knight, come in and help fix it. And they're one of the best, if not the best, for that specific niche, okay? I'm also gonna include Sentinel-1 as one of the stock picks. Now, Sentinel-1 basically is a competitor to CrowdStrike for endpoint, but Sentinel-1 also does, so they're F4 and D8. So if I go D8, D8 is gonna be that endpoint security we just looked at. Now, F4 is different. F4 is different, and that's not one that we had for CrowdStrike. So you'll find it right here, containment and isolation, and CrowdStrike's not in there. So slightly different in that aspect. Now, Sentinel-1 also just made an acquisition for identity. And you're gonna notice throughout this video that I did not include Adka. It used to be one of the 4 horsemen. I sold that stock. They had a breach, and that's part of the reason we're doing this video today. They had a breach. There's 15,000 customers impacted. You'll see under identity management, you've got things like Adka, you've got ForgeRock, you've got Ping, you've got Microsoft, and so on. CA Technologies also is in there, but I didn't include Adka. What's interesting is that Sentinel-1 is trying to get more in this space as well, and there's just a lot of competition when you look at identity and access management. So Adka was probably considered like best of breed. They also have the acquisition with Auth0, but I sold it. I started lacking conviction, and I ended up selling it a couple months back and repositioned that capital. So I don't own any Adka. It was a small position, and that one's not going to be on the top 10. So the next stock I want to talk about, guys, is Zscaler. You can see it down here, C7 and E7, okay? So I got this zoomed way in. Hopefully you can see this. Zscaler right here, secure web gateway, and that's really what they're known best for. They also have secure networking. Okay, so you've got your secure web gateway, and you got endpoint security we've talked about. Those are very different. So you could actually have Zscaler and you could have Sentinel-1 or CrowdStrike at the same organization doing different things, okay? The next one I want to talk about is going to be Cloudflare. Now, Cloudflare is going to be in a few different segments in here, including DDoS mitigation and secure networking. DDoS mitigation is really what they're best known for. They're best of breed in that. They're also getting to other areas as well. And I think that total addressable market is going to continue to grow for Cloudflare. You can see here they're in secure networking. And you can see them here, guys, as well, right? Or DDoS mitigation. So you've got Checkpoint in there, you got Fortinet in there, you've got Cloudflare. You know, and honestly, like these diagrams, there's a lot going on here, and there's even some that are missing. Like, for example, you look at Fortinet. I'm pretty sure that Palo Alto has DDoS mitigation as well, but it's not listed on there. There are a lot of vendors that do a lot of different things. But if I'm a CTO or if I'm a CIO, I'm trying to find the best of breed and build my own solution. So I might use a combination of these tools together to make one best of breed solution that protects my organization the best I possibly can. The next one I'm going to cover is Know Before. Now, I did a video not long ago, 12 tech stocks to buy. And it was in there under cybersecurity as well as Zscaler that we just covered. Know Before is up 4.74% today. I said if you can get under 20, at the time I did that video, it was under 20. It's already rallied nicely since then, but it's still a small cap, $3.7 billion. This is training as a service. Let me show you one quick slide. Now, I know you guys have seen this. If you're following the channel, if you're a subscriber, you've seen this slide before. Completing the next paradigm, security awareness. Now, we're going to cover every stock in here. We're going to at least talk about every stock on this list here. Palo Alto is going to be one we talk about next for network security, application, traffic inspection. Palo Alto actually does a lot. They do everything from analytics to orchestration and automation, threat intelligence, advanced malware detection, network visualization, compliance, application control, endpoint detection. So they compete against CrowdStrike as well as SentinelOne. They also do response, and they do secure web gateway. So they actually compete with Zscaler in the secure web gateway. So I kind of just covered Palo Alto, but Otco we talked about. I no longer have that in the portfolio. Zscaler is one of my favorite picks. CrowdStrike's one of my favorite picks. So you got endpoint, web, identity, network. The human layer is going to be Know Before, and that's going to be cloud-based security awareness platform. It's basically training as a service. So it's a software as a service tool. So Know Before, guys, it's really going to be your human element, training people what not to do, what not to click on. Of course, there's certain attacks that can't be prevented by your employees, but you think of like phishing emails, for example. If your employees don't click on them, you don't have as many problems, right? So I think this is an important one going forward. Cybersecurity awareness training. There are several vendors that do this, but I think Know Before is the best of breed, and I like this stock a lot. The next one's a bit of a curveball because most people won't put Datadog in the cybersecurity space, but they are getting more into cyber monitoring. And I just wanted to show you this really quick on their website: security visibility in any cloud environment, real-time cyber monitoring across your entire stack, rapid triage and cross-team security investigation, and so on. You can kind of see the stack here. So I've liked this stock for a long time, and they're starting to expand more into that cybersecurity space, which I think is great for Datadog. So Datadog is the next stock pick. So the next one is Microsoft, guys, and these guys do a lot of different things. Of course, Microsoft is a huge conglomerate. It's almost like a technology ETF, essentially. I mean, you think of the Activision acquisition, they're already big into gaming. You think of the cloud services, you think of just all the stuff they have going on, with Xbox, with hardware, with software. You got your Windows 365. Now you've got more and more cybersecurity. I mean, so data discovery and classification, orchestration, automation. They got SIM logging, and they got right management, identity and access management. You can see right here, Microsoft identity and access management, competing against like an Okta and a Ping Identity. And there's just a lot of stuff going on. Secure platform. So Microsoft also competes with endpoint security. When you think of SentinelOne, you think CrowdStrike. So Microsoft definitely has to be on this list, but it's not a pure play cybersecurity, stock. So keep that in mind. So we briefly covered Palo Alto earlier, but I want to make sure we go into Palo Alto. I mean, you can see this blue kind of logo that's slanted. They're in more of these categories really than any other vendor. Okay, so that's important to keep in mind. The next one's probably going to be Fortinet, and that's also going to be a stock pick on this list. Now, those guys compete in a lot of areas. I would say Fortinet more on the database security, but they do a lot of the same things. You think of advanced malware detection and things like that. There's a whole list of like 15 different segments that Palo Alto fit into, as well as Fortinet. But Palo Alto actually has more. You can see threat detection analysis. You can see advanced malware. You can see under orchestration automation, under SOAR. They're everywhere. Everywhere you look, there's that little logo. There's containment and isolation under incident management and response. You've got network visualization and containers, SSL, visibility. They're really easy to see. You can see them everywhere. They're over here, they're over there. Firewall. Palo Alto needs to be on there. And people ask me all the time, why don't you own Palo Alto networks? There's nothing wrong with Palo Alto, and it's one I probably should add. What I like to do is I like to buy the best of breed for different segments. So I've got like the CrowdStrikes, the Zscalers, the Cloudflares. The best way I can really sum up like a Palo Alto is they do a lot of different things. So they cover many different segments for a business, right? But they're not necessarily best of breed with any of those segments. They do a bunch of different segments very well. But let's say I'm a CIO and I want the best endpoint security. I might go with a CrowdStrike and have that on top of my Palo Alto network because it helps me with all this other stuff we just talked about. Fortinet, kind of the same way. They compete in a lot of the same areas. There's some slight differences. We could create a whole video series and go deeper dive on these different stocks. But I wanted to really bring you the top 10 that I think are the best, cybersecurity stocks. There's one more stock that I want to talk about that you probably have never heard about. Let me cover that one. So number 10 is actually going to be Tenable. No pun intended, I guess, on that. Tenable is number 10. So this is going to allow businesses to know their exposure. Okay, so vulnerability management solution enables you to determine the cyber exposure of all your assets everywhere on every platform at all times. This is something I've never covered on the channel before. I hadn't really done a lot of research on this one before, but I do like this stock and I want to go a little deeper dive. If you would like me to do a deep dive on Tenable, please drop me a comment below and let me know and I will cover that. In fact, if there's anything on this video you want me to cover in deeper dive, let me know, drop a comment, I'd be happy to cover it. So those are the 10 stocks. You've got CrowdStrike, you got Zscaler, you got Cloudflare, KnowBe4, Datadog, SentinelOne, Microsoft, Fortinet, Palo Alto, and Tenable. Now, a few different ones that I want to include as bonus picks. It's going to be Mimecast, Broadcom, which also is CA Tech. If you look at Broadcom and CA Tech, they actually have a lot of different software that helps in cybersecurity. So that's Broadcom, AVGO, which also pays a nice dividend. I do own that stock. I also want to mention Palantir. That's one that kind of dabbles in that cybersecurity space as well. And there's tons of videos on the channel about Palantir if you want to learn more about that stock. But if you have not subscribed, guys, please do that now. Click that bell to get notifications. Drop me a like if you want to help me out. If you want to help me for doing these videos, drop me a like, drop me a comment. I appreciate your time and attention. If you could do me a favor, when this video is over, go watch another Fired Up Wealth video. That's going to help me out more than anything else you possibly can do, and that'll get me in the algorithm. So thanks, guys. I appreciate your support. Hope you have a great day. Take care.